Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and to the apostles of the millstone, and enough respect to the brothers out there pushing and spreading the gospel of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahshai to the four corners of the world. Now, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahshai, I just want to do a quick lesson on this article here, which is entitled U.S. Wants Full Dismantlement of Iran's Nuclear Program. Trump's advisor. And pretty much this has been an ongoing situation between America and Iran. Now recently, because of the because North Korea has been a lot more active on the world stage, they have I guess they are helping Russia, invade Ukraine. And now they are in there in Iran, and they are helping Iran develop nuclear missiles. And this is something that America definitely does not want. America doesn't want it because the Amaleks definitely don't want anyone in that region to have ICBMs, right? Because they want to remain the superpower in the Middle East, and Iran having nuclear weapons while backing Amalek's enemies will be a disaster. So they're trying to prevent Iran's nuclear program from kicking off, or at the very least from from coming to fruition. So this is pretty much all I'm going to do is read the article, and then Lord willing, this be edifying. This is the says the United States is seeking the full dismantlement of Iran's nuclear program, White House National Security Advisor Mike Waltz said Sunday, and they've threatened Iran with
military action.
And one can only guess what will happen if America has to go in there with its troop, and Russia is going to respond to that, and then forward, nuclear missiles start flying all over, and then Yahushua appears in the clouds. It says full dismantlement. Iran has to give up its program in a way that the entire world can see, Waltz told the CBS News program Face the Nation, and the audacity of America to own nuclear missiles but prevent other nations from having nuclear missiles, when in fact they have been presented. I think I made a video about it. They have been presented with the opportunity to dismantle their nuclear program and sign a treaty to abandon the goal altogether of creating nuclear weapons. But America and NATO and Amalek have not signed, except the other nations that are considered insignificant in terms of armed forces. It says his remarks came after President Donald Trump sent a letter to Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei earlier this month, seeking a deal that will prevent Tehran from possessing nuclear capabilities. It says Khamenei dismissed Trump's remarks, saying the claim by the United States that they are ready to negotiate is a deception of world public opinion. And that's right. The scripture talks about stand out with that enchantment. The enchantment has lost its effect. The American enchantment, the deceit, the television, the internet, the speeches made by president, it's all a lie now. People have gotten used to it. And so this enchantment doesn't work on anybody anymore, right? It says, as President Trump has said, this is coming to a head. All options are on the table, and it is time for Iran to walk completely from its desire to have nuclear weapons, Walt said. And this, how do I put it? America's being fixated on Iran's nuclear program really comes from Amaleks, Amalekites, those JOOs who are lobbyists, right? Who have their rich men, put their resources into lobbying the American government, and that's the only reason why America is so involved in that right now, because there are so many threats that are actually a threat to America, but America is not as fixated on it as they are on on the Middle East, Russia, for example. All right, but it says if they had nuclear weapons, the entire Middle East will explode in arms race. He argued, adding that it is completely unacceptable to our national security. He also warned Iran, saying, "Give it up, or there will be consequences." In 2018, then President Trump unilaterally withdrew the United States from the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. Yeah, I remember doing a video on this. They pulled out when Donald Trump was president. He actually pulled up on a nuclear deal, and Iran tried to have them come back to it, but they weren't with it. So Iran was like, "All right, F it, all right, everything goes then." So it says the President Trump unilaterally withdrew the United States from the 2015 Iran nuclear deal and reimposed sanctions on Tehran. Despite complying with the nuclear agreement for over a year after the United States withdrew, Iran gradually reduced its commitment, citing the failure of the deal's remaining signatories to protect its interests. All right. Let me get it right now. Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 1, it says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, a destroying wind." And this is the fire, right? The nuclear fire that comes from the missiles that are being disputed right now. "I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, right? And shall empty her land, and fanners are everybody, right? From the smallest to the greatest who contribute to these missiles being built and these missiles being shot off into its target, right? So it can go from the manufacturers to, the scientists, the technicians, the engineers, the senators who draft policies on how to use. I mean, everybody in office who drafts policies on how to use nuclear weapons, the president, whoever's the head of the country that ultimately decides what should happen, the generals who influence the decisions of its leaders. All these people will be known as the fanners, the countries that shoot the missiles. "For in the day of trouble they shall be against their round about. Against him that bendeth let the archer bend his bow." And that is all the countries that have missiles, let them have their missiles ready. "And against him that lifteth up himself in his brigandine, and spare not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her host. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, the land of America, and they are thrust through in her cities, those that die from the missiles, those that die from the arrows. And the arrows will not discriminate, man. The scripture talks about it. Destroy utterly all her host." It says, "Make bright the arrows, gather the shield. The Lord Yahweh has raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes." And these are the Russians, all right? The Medes will be those that were during the known world. They were the known nations that were furthest north, right? So you would have, the scriptures describes Russia as Gog and Magog. It describes him as a country from the north, and it describes him as the Medes. It's the same thing. It just describes the battle of Armageddon, where Iran, leads a whole bunch of nations against America. And that scenario is repeated in so many different words, in so many chapters, right? In books, in so many different ways. "For his device is against Babylon, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple." All right? Right, it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will plead thy cause and take vengeance for thee, and I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. Right? This is how Babylon is going to be. And that's how we know it's not talking about the ancient Babylonian Empire, because Babylon was not destroyed by fire. Right? It was actually a relatively peaceful transition. It says, and Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragon, an astonishment, and an hissing without an inhabitants. Now, there are people inhabiting that region right now. They shall roar together like lions, they shall yell as lions' whelps. In their heat, I will make their feast, I will make them drunken, that they may rejoice and sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith the Lord. Hold on. Bring forth the mouth. Right, her cities are a desolation, a dry land, and a wilderness, a land wherein no man dwelleth. Right, neither doth any son of man pass thereby. And this is the fate of what? Of America. This, no matter how many times they threaten people, it ain't gonna work. These nations will make their bows ready, like we just read in the book of Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. And it's not until a matter of time until America falls. And once it falls, the kingdom of heaven will be established. So with that, I'm going to end it by giving all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakodash. Shalom to all you brothers and sisters that are watching in truth and sincerity. May the blessing of blessing be upon the house. And let us have faith, right, in Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, because what we believe in is definitely the truth. And our eyes are open, and we are made wiser than the world, right? So let us remain ready until we be reunited with the bridegroom in marriage. So until next time, Shalom.